We then heard that Melanie had this dream about how a bombshell came into the villa with green hair, and then here she was with green paint on her, but that bombshell in her dream took Sincere. And you know what? As a fellow crazy water sign, I believe she had this dream, and it was kind of psychic. Hello, everybody. Back to talk about last night's Tuesday episode of Love Island USA. More drama with more bombshells entering. We saw the three new bombshells enter an attempt to make their mark, and it did put some couples in disarray. Let's talk about everything. I took a lot of notes last night. Honestly, I don't know why I took so many. So I guess I have a lot to discuss. Let's see. The guys met the new girls, Sol and Jen. The girls met Caleb. Melanie's whole excuse of why she went so crazy as soon as a new guy was announced, and it was Caleb, was that she was going crazy because she was really doing that to hype Kenzie up. And I saw some people having this take after Monday night's episode. That's why Melanie was going so crazy for Caleb. It's a possibility. However, when Sincere talks about it happening, he says that she went crazy before she could even see the guy's face. So how could she really know that the guy was Kenzie's type right off the bat? Melanie just be doing too much, and it is starting to catch up with her, obviously. Caleb just entered. He's very young. He is 21. He works on cars and welding, and he had Kenzie squilling. Ugh, Kenzie. She really does know how to irk my nerves, because I was not enjoying her at the beginning of this episode, squilling like a pig in heat. Then we had Trinity hyping up Caleb for Kenzie, saying, "That's a real man. Yeah, Mr. Junior in college. That's a real man." But yeah, the other girls' reactions, Melanie was already getting going, saying she doesn't give a fuck about Sincere's reaction. Immediately getting defensive, as she does. We then heard that Melanie had this dream about how a bombshell came into the villa with green hair, and then here she was with green paint on her, but that bombshell in her dream took Sincere. And you know what? As a fellow crazy water sign, I believe she had this dream, and it was kind of psychic. Meanwhile, of course, Aniya was also still upset about Casey's joke that he was blessed by the new girls coming in and leaving red all over him. And then Bea is feeling some kind of way because she thinks that Jen is likely Gabe's type because he has said that he's into blondes, plus she has big old titties. And Bea is saying that she doesn't have blonde hair, she doesn't have big tits, she doesn't even have a leg. I like Bea's sense of humor when it comes to her self-deprecation. You can tell it's something that has gotten her along in life with her situation with her leg. I see some people saying, oh, they get tired of hearing Bea's jokes about her leg. Let the woman live. I think it's great that she has a sense of humor. As for Jen and Sol being introduced to the guys, Jen and Zach bonded over Taylor Swift, and I think later bonded over One Direction. If Zach is a big Britney Spears fan, I'm going to have even more questions about him. But Sol talked about how she does not want someone that's nonchalant. She wants someone that's very chalant. Sol is another Scorpio. And we already see the drama that Melanie provides as a woman Scorpio. If Sincere is about to be stuck between two Scorpios, we are going to be eating good on the drama this season if all three stay in the house. Very excited about it. I like Sol as an addition. I was very concerned after Monday night's episode, I'm not going to lie, because I don't like Corbin, and I didn't think I was going to like any of these three bombshells. Sol definitely going to give us the best TV. Caleb kind of grew on me, but we'll talk about that after. Meanwhile, Casey was talking to the boys about the new girls after his whole thing to Melanie about Melanie being the prototype, the dark-skinned black woman, gave that whole speech to Aniya, tells the boys that his ex looked like Sol. I just feel like Casey really set himself up pretty hard with the black audience because of that speech. So I've seen a lot of vitriol come Casey's way online over the past couple of days because of his joke about being blessed And now his comment that Soul looks like his ex. As soon as he gave that speech, people were saying Casey's a scammer, he's scamming. Because this show actually does have a history of, black guys scamming black women to get to the final. It happened in the very first season of Love Island USA. I still like Casey, though. So I'm not turning on Casey yet. I still have a week left before I'm giving my rankings of these people that I've agreed to do in the comments with some of you, because as you all know that have been watching me, I'm doing my 2 weeks where I'm just assessing without picking favorites. Excuse me. But yeah, I feel like the guys were all dogging on Melanie being so over the top during that challenge. They got to see her go between back and forth kissing Corbin and Sincere, and of course Sincere is very upset about that. They're also upset because the girls seem more upset that the guys were getting kisses than they were when Corbin got to kiss them secretly, and they didn't even know about it. Gabe was kind of checked out of this conversation. I think Gabe was already plotting kissing both of the new bombshells, which he then proceeded to do as the episode went on. However, when Trinity and Bea started to give the new bombshells a tour, and the rest of the guys were either dogging on Melanie or their own girls, Bryce was gushing about Trinity because he told her that he knew Jen from modeling, and yet there Trinity was still being nice to Jen, still being warm and welcoming to all the new bombshells. And I think Bryce is smitten by Trinity's energy. And I've seen enough to call this, as a fellow Watersend guy, Bryce is enamored with Trinity. He really is. And I think Trinity and Bea were doing this because they are the two Libra women with the best social game. And why not be warm and welcoming to the new girls? As kind of a way to say, don't go after my men. Didn't really work out for Bea. But Aniya also seems like she's good socially, but not social game. Like, she is good socially because she puts herself last. And I really wish she would stop that. Speaking of Aniya, she was upset with Casey because of his joke. They kind of talked it out. She's upset because he thinks he did a lot because he's covered in red, and he knows it looks bad because he's covered in the bombshells red. And he doesn't want her to feel sad, but she is feeling like he plays too much and that it was just not good timing for the joke he made. Casey was talking about how Jen is not his type, but that Soul is very pretty, and he says that if it's mutual, he would explore with Soul, but that he has no reason to not want this connection with Aniya. Casey did not tell Aniya that Soul looks like his ex, but he didn't invalidate Aniya's feelings when she was getting emotional with him here, which I think is very emotionally mature of him, similar to the young Trinity. They do impress me with their emotional maturity. Aniya had the point that she was respectful when Corbin came in, and that's why Casey didn't feel stressed about that situation. And he admits that she didn't give him a reason to feel stressed when Corbin came in. And Casey says he doesn't want to hurt her. So they basically made up for the most part. And I think they have been slow in getting more serious, but I think they're getting there. I kind of predicted this yesterday, all the flack that Casey and Aniya were getting yesterday, that I thought Casey was going to be able to smooth it over mostly well, and he did mostly well. I do think Aniya was still in her feelings a little bit, which we'll get to. Melanie and Sincere had their awkward conversation. He feels disrespected by her kissing everybody and then ping-ponging between he and Corbin. He said he was disrespected and embarrassed. Glad Sincere stood up for himself here. I just said yesterday, if he's not going to get his lick back, I'm going to lose some respect for the so-called ladies' man. She said she didn't know it was Corbin, and I just needed someone to cut to Candy from Real Housewives of Atlanta with the lies clip, because that was some big ol' lying, as if she couldn't tell Sincere's long hair and that Corbin is taller than everybody. He also brought up the fact that she went crazy when Caleb was just announced, went crazy before even seeing him. Melanie gave her excuse that Caleb is not her type, which he's not, and that she was hyping up Kenzie. But in confessional, Melanie was talking about how she knows she fucked up, and she told Sincere that she hasn't had real interest in anyone else. But Sincere was definitely telling the guys that Soul is dreamy, which would be a big deal the next day. Corbin, meanwhile, surprised me, saying that he does not have a spark with the new bombshells like he does with Kenzie. And they were kissing again that night. But the next day they kind of had an awkward conversation. And Kenzie does think the new guy is cute and is country like her. I was surprised that Corbin said he's not going to go after the bombshells. Because I also find that like stupid of him. But you all are calling him Corbin GPT. And, he doesn't have AI to ask what to do, so maybe that's why he's making dumb decisions. Corbin has not been impressive since the minute he walked into me. Zach, meanwhile, thought that Kata enjoyed the kiss with Caleb, and Zach did talk about how he is upset that when the girls kissed Corbin, the guys were cool about it, but now that the guys got some kisses, the girls are being extra. Kata reassured Zach that Caleb is not her type, and Zach told Kata that he told the bombshells that he was closed off, even though it was kind of a joke. But then Zach slept on it, and then he panicked the next day, and he told Bryce that he feels like he's in a relationship already, so he told Kata the next day that it was basically a joke that he was closed off and that he should explore, so he started to explore Jen. Zach made no sense to me in this episode. I'm glad that as soon as he said he was going to explore, Kata said, well, then she's going to explore Caleb. Kata was feeling like Zach was trying to make her feel some kind of way. I have no idea what he was doing. But I think he is a Scorpio as well, so I'm sure he's playing some sort of mind games. Because as we can see, it's what you Scorpios do when it comes to relationships. I need Kata to find a new man because I like her a lot. But I will not be voting for her if she's in a couple with Zach. I'm not voting for boring, lazy Zach to win this game. Another strong part of the episode for me, where Bryce and Trinity are concerned, was them gossiping about what Melanie did in the big bed to Sincere and Corbin. Bryce was so animated, spilling the tea about how Melanie kissed both guys. Trinity was cackling it up. Nobody is outdoing this connection right now on the show, whether people like it or not, or whether people think Bryce is chopped or whatever, or they want to whine about the age gap. You're going to get sick of me saying this probably, even though I was much worse last year when I had to defend Nick because he's a fellow Pisces. But as a fellow water sign guy like Bryce, I do love gossiping with my woman. It is fun times, and Bryce was having a ball doing that. And then the next day, Bryce and Trinity talked about how they have open communication and thus no drama like all of these other couples are having. And, Bryce comparing it to how Melanie was mad after one conversation that Sincere had with Kata. Bryce said this episodes ago that they were building a foundation because they talk about everything and other couples are not doing that, and that the other couples will have drama. And now it came to fruition because every single couple had drama in this episode except for these two. And us mature folks knew that this would be true as soon as Bryce was talking about that. And by mature folks, I do mean old. But I like this connection. I think Trinity's emotional maturity is great and needs to be commended. A lot of you have said that in the comments, and I agree. Her communication also has to be commended, although that's not surprising to me because she is a Libra, as I've been saying. These two really do have a foundation. And yeah, Bryce is down bad. I do still think Bryce maybe needs to be tested, but honestly, I don't really know if I believe that. Because from jump, if you go back to the first episode, Bryce thought that Trinity was the baddest one there. So Bryce is into Trinity. Trinity picked Bryce. People don't want to believe this connection for whatever reason. They've been projecting onto it the whole time. They have the best thing going right now. I was probably harsh on Caleb yesterday. He did better than I expected. The Caleb comment or joke when he was making 2 plates for the bombshells, and they were joking with Casey that was for Aniya, and he joked that both plates were for Aniya to make Casey uncomfortable. I thought it was funny. Of course, there was some crying online about this joke from some people thinking he was body shaming Aniya. Aniya, the one with abs, please shut the fuck up. There is a push to make Aniya a big victim right now, and it's not landing for me. Even though I still like her overall, I feel like there's a lot of projecting now going on to Aniya. And I don't like all this projecting that's going on to Aniya from people in their own feelings. Caleb talked to Bea first. He talked about how he likes learning new languages. He learned German from his girlfriend of 1.5 whole months. Caleb's young, definitely the youngest guy. It's going to be hard for that to work out, I think. But then Bea talked about how she thinks her and Gabe are good, but Gabe pulled Soul for a chat. And they even went to soul ties, which made Trinity and Aniya question him, because that's where people take the person they're really feeling strongly about. Gabe was talking to Soul in soul ties, saying that Soul turns his head and it made him know what he wants, and then he kisses her as Aniya was trying to spy. Soul did not like the kiss, though. She said that the kissing pheromones were not good. I just think that she didn't like his tongue down her throat, because that's how Gabe be kissing. What also stood out to me is that Gabe, when in soul ties after this kiss, was looking around very paranoid, making sure that nobody caught on to what he was doing with Soul. I was expecting him to tell Soul that if you hear metal on the ground, we need to run. But he didn't say that. Gabe then later talked to Bea about how he would tell Bea if he liked someone else, but he didn't. And then later he took Jen for a kiss too. And I think Bea, with their group late in the episode, was saying that Gabe's going to do what Gabe's going to do. But I think she knows she kind of fucked up with Gabe. Maybe dropped Sean too soon. I don't know why she dropped Sean. Told Sean she still wanted to explore the connection, but didn't really try. Maybe Sean said it was a no. He was done from jump. But I feel like if Bea would have tried, he would have went for that, because look what happened to him. I don't know. I don't know what Bea was doing with the whole San situation. Sincere and Aniya discussed Soul and if Sincere likes her. They also discussed Melanie's disrespect. Mel was talking to KC at the same time, getting advice from KC. But Aniya and Sincere both felt some kind of way about Melanie and KC. You know, KC's joke with the bombshells and just Melanie doing what Melanie does. Aniya even acted out some of her feelings on KC when she went to put her arm around Sincere. And I think that was interesting to me. And then Sincere told Aniya that KC said that his ex looked like Soul. These two seem like they have a really strong friendship, and they go to each other for advice. And it's usually Sincere that we've seen pull Aniya for advice. I have a confession to make. I try to stay away from crack ships, but last year I was definitely a Nick and Olandria truther, and that turned out very well. Aniya and Sincere are my crack ship. I'm just a friends to lovers junkie. It's my favorite trope. I know it's not going to happen because Aniya is so deep in the friend zone, like deep. And I doubt Sincere would take it there because they're both friends with Melanie and KC. But the drama would be so juicy too. That's best case scenario this season for me. I don't see it happening, especially now with Soul around too. But one can have this imagination for more drama and a great trope. Sincere then pulled Soul. They had a good conversation. They had a good kiss. Soul liked his kiss, unlike Gabe's. That night, Sincere and Soul spoke again. He thinks that Soul is a breath of fresh air. While this was happening, Melanie was sulking downstairs. Bea tried to tell Melanie that she and Melanie can't stress because the guys are going to do what they do. But when Melanie walked away saying she wants Sincere and went to go look for Sincere, Bea says, when they were talking about the bad communication between Melanie and Sincere, Bea said that Melanie is the one that is a bad communicator, which is true. People are saying, oh, Bea has beef with Melanie, or she just likes to speak the truth. Aniya was somehow surprised to hear people saying this about Melanie and Melanie and Sincere's not so good connection. I can't tell if Aniya really thinks that or if she was playing slow. My crack ship theory is that she has been pushing Mel and Sincere together to try and feel better about not exploring Sincere. That's what I think. But Melanie was looking for Sincere. Meanwhile, Soul and Sincere were kissing it up again, and it was getting more intense. And it looked like Melanie was going to walk in on them. And I was kind of hoping she did. But she didn't. She just missed them kissing. Sincere and Melanie had another conversation. He admitted he wants to explore more with Soul. Mel wanted to break it down, saying she likes Sincere a lot, wants to date him after the show. It makes her sad to see him having another connection. He then admitted to kissing Soul in Speakeasy. He downplayed the kiss, saying it was just a kiss, saying nobody compares to Melanie. This was Sincere in ladies' man mode, downplaying the kiss to Soul. That was definitely more intense, that he was definitely into, saying that Soul's the one that asked for the kiss. But they had another dramatic, not so great departure from each other. I will say this about Melanie. She's done a lot. She's only kissed men in challenges, though. So Sincere got his lick back, but he did it more intense than Melanie has done. And I said this yesterday. Melanie did way too much. She definitely disrespected Sincere, going back and forth between him and Corbin in his face. But it was still a challenge. Melanie's biggest mistake is that she went off after one conversation. But she hasn't kissed a guy outside of challenges, and now Sincere has, but she kind of did it to herself. Like, she is hurting herself. She says she's done this in the past, where she just is kind of self-implodes, and that's what she's doing again. Caleb in his cowboy boots finally had a talk with Kenzie. She's been waiting for a country boy. Honestly, Kenzie was more calm in this conversation, talking about lands and farms and just trad wife life, basically. They end up kissing. Didn't love it. This was Kenzie's best conversation, though. She actually had a more calm energy. My theory is that she has never been around this many men of color and has been high-strung about it and really over the top because she has to explore these non-white people. Because her horniness has been so over the top with Corbin and Gabe, but she was so calm and comfortable with her fellow country bumpkin here. They're two Sagittariuses, though. And people say that could be a good match, obviously, two people of the same signs. But Sagittariuses are so a lot that I do wonder what's going to happen between these two. It could get fiery in bad ways. I hope it does, because if not, it's just going to be boring to me. I don't care about this connection. But it has been Kenzie's best so far, because I think it's just more familiar to her. Anyway, I'm assuming y'all voted for Soul with Sincere and Kenzie with Caleb. I don't know where Jen is landing or who y'all voted for. If the vote doesn't lead to an elimination, I hope it's Jen and Zach, because Kata can do better than lazy Zach. If it is an elimination from this vote, there's no way Melanie goes. Melanie is the drama. Like, I know people don't like her. People want her out, my girlfriend included. But I can't see producers doing that. And the story is definitely unfinished. So, yeah, I just don't see it happening. Unless Melanie's departure brings on, Sincere and Aniya getting closer, then we have a storyline. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Those are my thoughts today. I will be back tomorrow. I want to do a couple ranking, but maybe something else. I'll see how I feel. Because I do still have my week left to assess these people. But I think I am kind of ready to assess the couples that we currently have, and maybe even assess the couples that we might get from this vote from us. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, how you felt about this episode.